There we go. Awesome. So there we go. So welcome everybody to class number 5 of 8, I think. I don't think I'm going to go any longer, but you never know. Anyways, welcome. It's good to see everybody. I'm glad you're here. I hope all is going well. I wanted to start off with opening prayer. Did somebody volunteer to do opening prayer last week? Did we do that? Okay. Okay. Well, I will do that then. So, awesome. So why don't we just take a minute and either close your eyes or just settle on a soft gaze. Either one works just fine. And just become totally present. Give yourself the space and the permission to let everything go, to connect with spirit, to connect with yourself, Mother Earth, and then maybe set your own intention for the meeting tonight. Maybe you want to have a deeper understanding about metaphysics and goal setting. Maybe you want to have a breakthrough. Who knows, maybe we could get really crazy if somebody was wanting a healing or transformation. Why don't we collectively just open the space up to be magical and invite in all of the guides, all of the helpers of the light, angels, archangels, spirits. There's a particular master or ascended master that you are drawn to, maybe ask them to be here. But even though we're not together physically, we can be together in spirit. And we can let spirit guide us, direct us, open our hearts, open our minds to go further than we've ever gone before. And so we just say, thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for this time together. Thank you for new awarenesses, new opportunities to grow as we come together in this collective and leaning on your guidance and the collective wisdom that we are creating. We open the doors for all kinds of fun, wonderful, magnificent things. And we just say, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. Amen.
Amen.
Cool. All right. So I would say, there we go. So before we dive in, I was just gonna open up the floor for any questions, comments. Maybe because we don't have a ton of people, maybe what we could do is just go around and give everybody about a minute. I don't want to go much longer, but a minute or so is just kind of like a barometer check. How are you doing? How is this process of applying metaphysics to goal setting going for you? So it could be about anything. It could be about last week's lesson. It could be about an overall comment. It could be about the goal that you're working on. Anything, just to give us an idea. How are you? Because we want to know and because we care. So having said that, I'm just going to pass the ball to the first person on my right and just ask if you would share about a minute worth of how you're doing. And then I'm going to ask you to pass the ball to the next person, whoever that will be. You can choose whoever you want. So having said that, Karina, you are up, my friend.
Okay. You have probably have a lot of background noise, right?
Yeah, let me shut my door.
Okay. I don't see anybody. I don't even see Mike. Okay.
Yeah, we've got everybody's here. There's 6 people on the
Yeah,
screen.
I know. I just don't see anybody. So,
Okay.
okay.
So do you want to share with us how you're doing or any comments or thoughts about the class?
Um, I just pass for right now. Just let the next person go, and maybe I'll go after
Okay.
that. Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Sounds good. Sounds good. How about Joy? I see your name, Joy. I know you're there.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Hi. Um, I am doing good. I'm kind of like double, triple booked right now, but I'm gonna try to participate as much as I can. So I teach the class tonight too, basically the same schedule, but it's a little bit later, but kind of
Sure.
preparing for. But I'm doing well, and I was trying to focus on the emotional part, what we talked about, identifying our emotions. And
Mhm.
that, I don't know who said it last week, but like the identification of the emotions were not super, I mean, they're kind of happy, glad, sad,
Yeah.
but to go to the next level, I would like to dig further. And and it was interesting because there's so many, I was identifying like there's so many different emotions at the same time.
Mhm.
And I think you called it something, but there's that going on, which was interesting to me.
Yeah,
And
blending.
I was kind of hoping for, I didn't look it up, maybe it's easy to find, but when you shared the list of the nonviolent communication list of emotions, I was I was wanting to do that, and I haven't done that yet, but maybe I can just find it. But if you can share that, if it's easy to share, that would, I think, be a helpful tool for me.
It went,
Uh,
did I not send them out in the email last week? I thought I
oh,
did.
oh, did you?
Yeah, check
Oh,
and see if I did. I
okay.
mean, I can as well, but if you could just double check, if I did, I did. If I didn't, I'm more than happy to send them, but I'm pretty sure I did.
Oh, okay. I'll go back and look. I thought it was just something else, but so yeah, I think so I want to work on that a little bit more. And I'm intrigued by the people that talked about being master manifestors in their life and how they were one or are one. And that's intriguing to me. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Um, and I've been working on the whole raising my vibration in many different areas, including what I put in my mouth, and really doing a lot of research to make sure that what I eat is healthy, organic, good for me, and just surrounding me with. It's a tricky part, and I don't know how you handle this, Michael, or other people, that like the vibration, you start to get a sense of higher vibration and then lower vibration people, and the lower vibration people that, like, I don't know, you had mentioned it before about there's just like they're in this like cycle of, we kind of talked about it, like the more you think about, oh, I'm, everything is going wrong, it's horrible, like that's what happens then, and they're stuck.
Mhm.
And so it's hard and to I don't know, relate to those people or something. I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm looking for a little assistance there, because I have some people that are just so stuck. And then when you tend to raise your vibration, then you want to be by people that have that same vibration, and that's, I
Yeah.
guess, maybe not realistic or fair. And I don't want to be judgmental at all, or I just want to be able to help those people, but maybe in some cases they have to, of course, realize those things for themselves. I don't know, I'm kind of just
Totally.
ranting about my variety of thoughts on these different topics, but I'm enjoying the discussion, and hoping I can continue to raise my vibration and manifest. And it's good to chat with all of you.
Cool. Well, it's good to have you here. I'll just speak into it for briefly, and then if we need to, we can have a further conversation about it. But I think honestly, that's where non-judgment and grace comes in. Um, because when I can be with somebody and not judge them, trust that they're exactly where they need to be, and trust that they're doing, they signed up for whatever they're doing, and understanding that it's really, quite frankly, none of my business. It's not, I'm not better than or less than. We're all the same. And again, that's where I think grace comes in a lot. When I can offer grace, I think that's one of the most beautiful things that I can do, and love them regardless. And that doesn't mean that, I'm going to sit there and hang out and party with them, by any stretch of the imagination. I don't like being around people that are extremely negative. And depending on how severe it is, I will absolutely beeline it out and away from who or whatever it is or whatever is going on, because I just don't want to be around it. So, and that doesn't make them right, wrong, good, bad, none of the above. It just means that I am going to make my own well-being my top priority, and therefore I'm going to do what I need to do to take care of myself. And if what that means is removing myself from an environment or a person, then I will do that. So, and again, doesn't mean I have to make them wrong or make me better or anything. It just means, okay, cool, like that's great, God bless you, and I'm off, so to speak. So anyways, awesome. Well, we're glad to have you here. All right, how about we do Lynn Hill? How are you, Lynn? And tell us how the course is going.
Hi, Mike. I'm sorry I've missed the last one. I've missed a couple of them. But I'm watching them later, and they're good. They're interesting. I was just watching the one this evening about it was last week, where you were talking about using sentence stems to identify limited beliefs. And boy, I came up with a lot. At first I was thinking, I don't know what my limited beliefs are, but they popped out during that. So that was really good.
Yeah, awesome.
One thing that I'm curious about is this whole concept of vibration.
Yeah.
I understand that it's a higher vibration is positive, it's good, it's uplifting. A lower vibration would be probably judgmental, negative, that kind of thing. But I still am not really clear on how or why it's called a vibration. If you could just expand on that a little bit, I'd like to hear that.
Sure. Yeah. So in the talk last week, I actually showed. Do you remember seeing me showing that scale from Dawkins in power versus force? He has the vibrational scale that can literally be measured. So he can do kinesiology, and he can actually test what level of vibration you're at. And not only that, I also have a thing that I can have you do online that will tell you roughly. You take this quiz, and I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's going to give us a ballpark to let us know roughly where you are operating out of. In other words, what type of energy. So the bottom line is we're energy, and we get comfortable in a particular emotion, if you will, or vibration, and that's kind of where we hang out. And so that's what we talked about last week. So if you go back in and watch that, you'll see where there's the different levels of energy.
So that was last week. I didn't get all the way to the end. I'll go back and look at that again.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so you go in and look at it, and it'll just show you the different levels of energy. The truth is that we're energy. That's all we are, is just energy. And so because we're energy, everything is basically, it's resonating at a certain level of energy. So for example, even if you just use basic science, if you've got water, right? So water is going to vibrate at a certain energy. If you then turn that water and turn it into steam, or it becomes air because you heat it up, then that's going to be a whole different thing. So kind of like, not exactly, kind of like, but same type of a thing. So, you just vibrate at different levels of energy, and there are certain emotions and certain things we can do to raise our vibrational level. And one of the things that I didn't mention last week, but I'll mention it right now, is in that chart that I showed you. For those of you that remember I had the line going across where it was 200, and I said anything below that is more like victim energy. Anything above that line, above 200, is more where you become self-empowered. Well, there's also words to describe them even better. And those words are catabolic energy and anabolic energy. Catabolic energy is a breaking down. It's just a complete breaking down. So on that chart, anything below 200 is a breaking down. So when you look at shame, blame, guilt, judgment, fear, there's a breaking down of energy, if you will. And you go above that 200 line, that's anabolic energy. Anabolic energy, excuse me, is energy for growth, expansion, more. And so even when you take it to that level, you also understand that depending on what level energy you're functioning at, are you functioning more catabolic, which is negative, or are you functioning more on a positive side of things? It makes a huge difference. And that's why they say that it's really important to be above 200. Now that level goes up to 700, but you want to minimally be above 200. And I've worked with clients where I've had them take that test and they're resonating in like the 130 or the 100s, and it's not easy because they're in a tough spot because it's hard to get things moving when you're in catabolic energy. It just is.
Thank you. I've read David Hawkins' Power versus Force twice, and I loved it. It's like I had to go through it the second time just to.
Yeah. So then you'll know the
absorb
chart.
it all.
Yeah. So
Right.
that chart is the chart that I show.
Okay, I read it on audiobook, so I did not see the chart. So I'll have to go back and look at that. And I would be interested in that vibration test because he didn't really explain how he was calibrating it from what I could tell in the book. He referred to energy, he referred to vibration all through the thing, but I wasn't clear on how he was calibrating that. So
Got it. Okay.
I would like that test. That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Karina, you had a question or you got your hand up?
Yeah, I just I saw you all black before. I had to sign out, sign back in, so it just kind of threw me off. So I can talk now.
Oh, okay, cool. Go ahead. Yeah,
Okay.
yay. Yeah. How are you?
Doing good. I had a good week, and remember I suggested the outreach program with the CAT organization.
Yep.
I emailed them again, and I never gotten a response back. So I guess they don't need help, you know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what to, it's just kind of it didn't upset me. It's just like they've posted on their Facebook page, oh, we need cat litter and we need this, we need that, and
Yeah.
I just want to let you guys know. So
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. It's good to have you back. All right. Who else do we have? We have, if I could get my scroller thing, we have Lynn Unger. Hi, Lynn. Good to see you. How are you doing? How's the class going?
Good. I really wanted to share that the denials have been very powerful for me. I've heard of them, being a Unity person for a long time, never really knew what they were, but they are really wonderful for kind of weeding out the weeds.
Yeah, they're really, really great. I always, like I
Thank you for
said,
that.
you're welcome. Like I said, to me, it feels like I'm standing up to the bully. That's what it feels like when I use denials. I'm saying no more. We're done with this. Like, I'm not going to let this thing control my life anymore. And it feels good. I mean, there's a sense of empowerment in using them. Although I'm reading a new book that just came out by Linda Winslet and another author about affirmations and denials, which they don't even call them. They still call them affirmations, but they don't call them denials. They call them, I think it's like, I want to say releases, but it's not. It's I'll remember, and I'll bring the book next week and show you too, because I'm really enjoying it. It's pretty profound. It's actually really good so far. I'm really enjoying it. So wonderful. Well, we're glad to have you here. Megan, how are you doing? How's the class? Hello, Megan? All right, well, Megan must have stepped away for just a moment. Mr. Dodsworth, how are you, buddy?
Hey, my last name's not up there.
You're what?
It just says Scott. It doesn't say Dodsworth. So I'm doing very, very good. Last class, much like I believe it was Lynn that said the STEM sentences were like very powerful for me. That was a breakthrough for me, actually. I was in my car driving and talking about how I was really struggling coming up with some blocks and what was blocking me, and the STEM sentences just, it was like that, boom, one right after another. So that was fantastic. I also spent some time last weekend going through some healing and some spiritual processes that really opened doors. It was incredibly powerful and incredibly loving, and I feel very, very blessed. And so that was great. It was also fun last week popping into the church and
Yeah.
causing trouble. So that was fun.
Yeah, it was really great to have
I
you.
wanted to speak to Joy just for a second, if I could. One of the things that I feel about with negative energy, and I know we're not here to teach, it's not our job here, it's just my experience, is or lower vibration, I guess is how it was phrased, is I like to lean into it. I when I have somebody that I judge as lower vibration, two things occur in my head. Number one, I realize I've got something to learn from this person. I've got my own blocks, I've got my own challenges. They don't have to be exactly the same. It's rarely the exact same situation. Really quick analogy or anecdote. I started a youth group. I really, really loved it, or young adult group. I really, really loved it. I had a member in it that really wasn't buying in. Everybody was buying in. It bugged the heck out of me. He wasn't buying in. I did some meditation and realized I was reflecting myself from him, or seeing us as one, and realizing I wasn't buying into my own education at the time, my own schoolwork. So that's the type of thing. It's not the same thing, but there's lessons to be learned. And number two, when I have somebody at lower vibration, I feel that, and it's a judgment on my part, lower vibration, is I like to listen. I like to listen, right? Let them say what they have to say. Let them express negativity. Let them express limited thought. Let them and embrace it. Just the fact of intense listening. No saying yes or no to it. Just being there with eyes open, focused on them, makes them feel love, and that's good. That's all.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, Gina, how are you?
Sorry, I was
No
muted.
worries. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, doing well. I was out of town last Thursday, actually walking on beaches and hiking, so having a wonderful time.
Sure.
In taking this course, I realized that I was raised to block my feelings. And I've sort of continued that in probably my life choices. And so, being in this class and listening to affirmations and denials and stuff, I realize I have a lot of work to do. Trying to do that, but it's not easy. It's sort of a lifetime of stuff to undo. And it's funny, when I talk to my sisters, I have 4 of them, they have a lot of the same issues. And so, yeah, in listening to this and vibrations, I just sort of have trouble figuring out how I'm supposed to do all this. But, it's been very good to listen to it and to think about it. So anyway, that's my story. And, I'm happy. I like to help people, and I just probably need to open up more.
Well, I think first of all, thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. And as a side note, if you ever want to have a conversation with me, then we can make that happen. So, but I mean, listen, you know, I'm just gonna, you know, a lot of you know my story, but I mean, the only thing I could do to survive was learn how to turn off my emotions. I didn't have a choice. Either I was going to turn them off or I was going to get eaten alive by what was going on in the environment I was in. So I got really good at turning them off. And, you know, which served me, it protected me, it really genuinely helped me as a child growing up in that environment. But the problem where that, you know, the problem shows up is when you're an adult and you're trying to live your life and you're trying to have relationships and you're trying to understand things and you don't have a lot of feelings. It makes it extremely, extremely difficult. And so I understand. I'm sure different circumstances and probably shows up for you a little bit differently because it shows up differently for all of us. But the impact is nonetheless it's huge. It's huge. And so you know, and it's also a process to turn them back on, and it doesn't happen overnight. Quite often, it can take a while for that to happen. But I can promise you, if you decide, hey, this is something I want to start doing, it'll happen. And again, we can have a further discussion about that. But again, grateful for your vulnerability and grateful for your share and grateful for you being here. Thank you. I think we got one last person, Erica. How are you?
I'm driving right now. That's how I am.
Okay.
On the Beltline, and it's horrible. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep it brief.
Yeah.
What I'm discovering is I've always been an emotional person. I have no issue talking about my feelings, feeling them, talking about them. The problem, I think, is that I surround myself with people that can't handle that because they're blocking all of their feelings. And so it makes me feel, I guess just makes me feel different in a way because I just don't have an issue with feelings, never have. And so I've always been told I have too many feelings and I need to like put them away somewhere.
Sure.
And I've always refused to do that. I'm a little rebellious. So it's just trying to put myself around people that are okay with all of my feelings that I have and being open about them.
Amen. Good for you. I'm glad you're a rebel. Good. Glad you're a rebel. That'll serve you very, very well in life. So awesome. All right. So good. We got a little bit of an update. It's good to hear. And what I want to do now is I'm going to start talking about a few things, and let me let me go. Oh, I got to share. So let me, hold on. I got to do this thing one step at a time. All right. So first of all, I got to share. And then I got to share PowerPoint. Where is PowerPoint? There we go. Okay. And then give me a second. So I'm sharing. Go ahead. Okay. Now what I need to do is I need to go over here and I need to click on presenter. Yeah, I'm guessing. Let me see what happens if I just hit play from the start. What happens? Yeah, it just kicks it in. Okay, cool. So I just want to double check. Gina, you're the only one, the only face I can see, but can you see our action screen? You can see that?
Yes.
Good. Okay, wonderful. All right, let me make sure I got my pointer where I need my pointer. And let's go. All right, so I'm just going to do a quick review of last week. We all know this, that we talked about the emotions being the language of the soul. Emotional awareness intelligent is a skill set. We talked about the 5 different levels of emotional awareness and intelligent. We had you take that little test. We also have an emotional guidance system. Your emotions are telling you the quality of your thoughts and what emotional state that you're in. So we spent a lot of time talking about that. We talked about what I called an aligned state or a non-aligned state. And we talked quite a bit about that. Having said that, I want to talk for a minute because after we took our break we started talking about something right after we were done, when I went out and talked to the people that were here, we started talking about the way emotions run through the body. And so I put something together, and actually I shared this in my talk on Sunday. So for those of you who saw my talk on Sunday, this is going to be a repeat, but I did want to share it with everybody because we do have emotional cycles, and I broke them down into either being a healthy emotional cycle or not a healthy emotional cycle. And again, I get it, there's different variances, but I just wanted everyone to just understand what it's like when you actually have emotions. So what happens is the emotion comes, we observe it, we accept it, we fully feel it, we express it in a healthy way if it needs to be expressed. And then what happens is the cycle is complete. The emotion is cleared and resolved. So that would be a healthy emotional cycle. And then we have the other side of the coin, which is the unhealthy emotional cycle. In the unhealthy emotional cycle, the emotion comes, we ignore it or we deny it, we resist it or we reject it versus accept it. We don't fully feel it. In some cases, we don't feel it at all. If it's got to be expressed, we express it in an unhealthy way. And I'm sure if I were to ask each and every one of you, have you ever, what does it look like when you express your emotions or anybody you know in an unhealthy way? We could get all kinds of very fascinating answers and examples, which I don't want right now. And last but not least, the cycle is interrupted and prevents the emotion from being cleared and resolved, leaving it stuck until it is resolved. And just one other thing about that, it doesn't matter if this thing happened a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, 10 years ago, or 40 years ago. If that thing isn't resolved, it ain't going anywhere. And so the issue that we have often is that many of us have a lot of stuck emotions that have not been resolved. And until those emotions are dealt with and processed, they're going to stay stuck. And that's what happens. So what happens is they get stuck in our subconscious mind. Something will happen that will remind us of what was happening when this thing occurred, and then we get triggered. And the next thing you know, we are feeling the same way that we felt when we were, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago when we were a kid, and we respond as a child. We're not responding as a fully grown, mature adult. And that's what happens is we have a lot of people out there running around, and the reason they act like adults is because they don't have a choice. They don't, because they're responding based off of the neural pathways that were created during that traumatic time. And depending on how deep the trauma was, it can be pretty gnarly in terms of the way that they react. I'm sure many of you know people who, when something in particular happens, they go flying off the handle. So what you're dealing with is you're not dealing with somebody who's present. You're dealing with somebody who's operating off of old beliefs and old patterns. And that's what happens. Okay. So those are the emotional cycles. The other thing I just talked into briefly was stuck in unresolved emotions are emotions that are left over from a previous event, just like what I was talking about. Until those are resolved, they will continue to impact your emotional well-being. Some examples of anger, resentment, grief, fear, jealousy, and I think that's it. Are there more? Yeah, there's a whole bunch more, but that's what it kind of looks like. So I just wanted to share that with you because I thought it was really a relevant comment that we were talking about after the meeting last week. And by the way, I guess I should just let those that are online know that usually I stick around for a few minutes afterwards and have a little bit more of a conversation. If you want to stick around, you're more than welcome to do that. I'll just leave Zoom on and turn off the recording. All right, so I want to go back. I'm going to keep coming back to this, and we keep adding to our goal setting process. So if we look at it so far, what do we have? We identify the goal, we visualize it, we bake in it, we use the intentional meditation that we talked about, we create an affirmation, we identify any limited beliefs. Then what we do is we create a denial and affirmation for any of the limited beliefs. We create a daily plan to practice your affirmations and denials. We already covered that. And then we add some powerful emotions to your affirmations and your visualizations. So that's where we're at so far. And we're going to keep building on this process. And by the end of this course, you'll have a very specific process that you can follow anytime that you choose to go through this process. You can do that. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm going to move forward because we spent 25 minutes jabbing. So I want to move forward and get right to the talk today. So remember, now go back to the beginning of the course. We've talked about our tools of creation, which are our thoughts, our words, and those we've talked about so far. And what we haven't talked about is our actions. Going back to the bigger thing, our behavioral loop. Remember this? So we start off with everything starts with our early perceptions and beliefs, goes to our thoughts, goes to our emotions, and then finally kicks into our behaviors or our actions. So our behaviors also called our actions. So that's what we're going to spend some time talking about tonight. So just as a reminder, you've already seen this, right? But I'm just going to go through this real quick. Our actions or non-actions create our reality. They contain a vibrational quality. Speaking of vibration, they can be directed. The problem is that we fail to realize how powerful our actions are or are not. We often take unconscious action. Our actions are often out of alignment with what we want in our life or what the goals we're trying to achieve. And we often direct our actions in the wrong direction. So the solution, realize how powerful your actions are. Choose to take action consciously versus unconsciously, and make sure that your actions are in alignment with what you're wanting in your life. All right, so and direct your actions consciously by focusing on your goals. All right, you've seen that. It's the first thing I did the first night we got together. So we're going to go do a little bit of a deeper dive and have a conversation about our actions tonight. So a couple more things about our actions. As I said, nothing happens without taking focused, specific, and consistent actions, especially when it comes to your goals. So your actions, when you're focusing on your goals, need to be focused, they need to be specific, and they need to be consistent. Okay? Some actions help you get closer to your goals, some don't. We must constantly be evaluating our actions to see if they are getting us closer to our goals or not. And if they're not, then we need to adjust them. I should add that sentence in there. So we're constantly just, hey, what are we doing? Is this getting me closer or further away from my goal? If it's not getting you closer, then we need to adjust what actions that we are taking. Okay? All right. So when it comes to your actions, you need to determine what actions are the following. What actions do you need to take towards your goal? Remember, everything is about your goal. You need to determine what actions you're taking now. You need to learn, you need to figure out what actions you need to learn or you need to do more of. So either A, you got to learn something, or you need to do more of something. And the fourth thing is you figure out what actions you need to let go of. And so what I'm going to do with you is I'm going to go through an example of mine when I went through this little exercise. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have you take a few minutes, and I just want you to pick one goal that you're working on at this time. And I want you to sit down and determine these four things for yourself regarding your particular goal. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So let's look at my stuff for a while. So here's my little chart. If you look, it says actions I need to take, actions I take now, actions I need to learn or do more of, and then actions I need to let go of. So this particular goal was this course. So let's look at this thing. So I needed to create an outline. So what was I doing now? This is back when I did it. Okay, this is back when I started doing this. I didn't have an outline. And so what actions do I need to learn, or what do I need to do more of? Well, I need to do more. I needed to, at the time when I did this, I need to do more planning. And actions I may need to let go of. Procrastination, distraction, or lack of focus. Okay. And then so what I did is I just made all of my different things that I needed that I needed to take. So create an outline, get the word out, relearn how to do PowerPoint, relearn how to edit my videos, figure out how to run the class, work on my mindset about doing this, do intentional meditation work. It looks like, if I'm not mistaken, well, there's more, but I can't. How do you get down there? No, I can't see it. For some reason, it's too big. That's all right. Just know that there's more action. So first of all, what you do is you just sat down and you make a list of everything that you need to do, that you need to take. Okay. And then what you do is you make a list. And by the way, they don't necessarily need to line up like this, just so you know, because you may think, well, I need to do these 10 things and I'm only doing 3 things now, which is fine. But I just made it line up just so it looked nice for the chart. Okay, that's why I did it that way. So then you'd make a list of, okay, what am I doing now? So what actions am I taking now? And then the next thing you want to do is go figure out, like, what do I need to learn or do more of? So like in some of these, you can see some things I just needed to do more of, and some things I needed to learn. It just depended. So, get the word out. Well, I needed to do social media, Facebook, telling my warm network about what I was up to. So that was more of a, hey, I need to do this. Whereas when I look at, it had been a while since I played with PowerPoint. So I needed to go back in and relearn how to do PowerPoint, right? Same thing with iMovie, because that's where I edit my videos. Figure out how to run the class. Well, I kind of knew how to do that. So that was more of a do more of, more than anything else. It's just been a while since I've done one with this much detail, with the recordings, with the videos, everything else. The depth of this class took a lot. So there's the actions I need to learn to do or do more of. And then finally, actions I needed to let go of. So you can see, especially when I was lining them up with particular actions I needed to take, often what you would see is procrastination, distraction, lack of focus. So that was pretty relevant, right? So, all right, so here's what we're going to do. I am going to, let me see. Come on. This thing's taking a second. All right, so here's what I want to do. I want every single, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you, say 10 minutes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the screen up. You can take yourself off the screen if you want to. And what I want you to do is I want you to think about whatever goal you're working on, and I want you to make a list. The goals you need to take now, the actions that you need to take now, the actions you're taking now, the actions you need to learn or do more of, or the actions you need to let go of. Okay? So I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to do that. And I will play a little bit of background music and give you about 10 minutes. I'm going to set the timer starting right now. So take the time. And again, pick one goal, and there's your list. Start making your list. So we got about 2 minutes left. So just heads up, we got about 2 minutes left. All right, we're gonna stop that. We're gonna stop the music. All right, so here's what I want to do. What I want to do is I'm gonna do breakout rooms, and let me see if I can. I'm gonna stop sharing. There we go. Stop
We gotta be
sharing.
in the same one.
Hold on. Come
Yeah.
on. Okay, let go of my computer. There we go. Cool. All right, so I've got, it looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think what makes sense is if 2 groups of 4, probably 2 groups of 4. So let me do that. I'm going to do 2 groups of 4. So every person, I'm going to give you roughly 10 minutes. Every person's going to get about 2 minutes to share, and just whatever you took away from this exercise. Like, are you feeling good about what you're doing? Are you not feeling good about what you're doing? Do you see where you need to maybe change some things up? If so, what might those things be? Whatever you feel like sharing in this experience. So I'm going to break you into breakout rooms. We're going to do 2 breakout rooms.
Hey, Mike,
Hey, what?
will you put Karina and I in the same one? Because we're out here together
Yeah.
and
so
it would
let
be weird
me-
if, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. So let
Thank
me
you.
do, well, you know, what I could do is I could do 3 breakout rooms. I could do 3, 3, and 2.
Okay.
Eric, I like the headset.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna do, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go boom, boom. Okay, so assign. So Erica and Karina are gonna be in group 1. Group 2, I'm just gonna start picking 1, 2, 3, and then group 3, boom, boom, and boom. Okay, so again, I'm gonna give you about 10 minutes. All you're gonna do is go through and kind of talk about what realizations, what you learned, what your thoughts are. And well, you're going to have 10 minutes. So actually, you'll each get about 2 to 3 minutes or so, roughly. And these are ballpark figures. I'll get a feel for it. Okay. All right. So here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Inspirational
Oops, sorry.
photo
That
or
back on.
picture. And I feel like there's a lot of connection between meditation and creativity. And I feel like I just need to be silent and visualize it. And then I just really need to let go of any doubt. Like, I don't know, I've never painted a tree. I need to just do it.
Amen. Yeah, I love it. Cool. Thank you. Thank you for
Mhm.
sharing. Anybody else want to share anything that they discovered, anything that was new, or is this pretty much, yeah, we know? Any or all of the above? And it's okay. If nobody wants to share, that's okay.
I did think it was a good exercise
Mhm.
because it sort of forces us to think through what we need to do to make things happen.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Amen.
It sort of set a focus on some of the challenge we were having. I mean, the conversations went beyond just the specific question,
Uh-huh.
but the conversations were centered around, at least in our breakout group, were centered around just challenges in general and overcoming those, and that in and of itself then lends itself to thinking about overcoming things that are blocking us from the goals we're setting in our best.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on, but it's something to be observed. And that is, you know, especially once you identify, okay, what is it that I need to do? What is it that I'm not doing? Or what is it? What are all the things I need to do? What am I doing now? What are the things I need to learn to do and or do more of? And then what do I need to let go of? And ultimately what you want to be constantly looking back at is, am I taking the appropriate action to move towards my goal? Am I taking that consistent, steady action towards my goal? And if you are, then awesome, then we're good shape. If you're not, I can almost guarantee you that every single time, the majority of the time, it usually comes down to some type of a limited belief that's stopping us from moving forward, is normally what it is. I'm not saying there aren't rare exceptions, there are, but the majority of the time, in my experience in coaching people, is that it's a limited belief, it's a mindset issue that needs to be addressed, that's not allowing somebody to take steps forward. I remember I was working with one person who was running a business. So her MO was that she kept starting these businesses, and the businesses would get to about $1 million and they would never go any higher. And she did this like 2 or 3 times. And when we really got into it and started talking about it, what we found out was that in her mind, if they got bigger than that, it would mean that a lot of things to her that weren't necessarily true, but she grew up in an environment where her father owned a business, and what happened when his business got to be big and over $1 million, she never saw him again as a child. He was gone. And so in her mind, she equated having a successful business over $1 million meant that she wasn't going to spend any time with her family. One of her values was family. And so there was this mindset conflict, right? And that's what happens often with stuff when we really know what we want to do, but we're just not taking the action to go there. I'm going to tell you that the majority of the time, it's probably something mindset related, more than likely, has been my experience, right? Cool. Awesome. All right. I'm not going to go into this too much further, but my hope is that after you do the list, you really ask yourself 2 questions. And that is, okay, great. So now you realize these things, but like Joy did, it was like, you know, what was your plan when you need to learn more or you need to do more? What does that look like? Like quantify it. Like, what do I need to do or learn? And then make that be one of your goals for this process, right? So if I got to learn something, if I want to learn how to paint, I'm probably going to need how to learn to do something. So in that case, it's not a do more, it's really just learn in that case, right? And the other part of that, of course, is if you need to let go of something, what is the plan so that you can let go of whatever it is you're wanting to let go of, right? Because again, we do things that help us, we do things that hurt us. And in the case where they're hurting us, in some cases, especially when it comes to a goal, we need to let go of some things, right? So, you know, I don't know, I'm just going to make something up, right? I don't know anybody that smokes anymore, but let's say that you smoke and you don't want to smoke anymore. Well, then guess what you got to give up? Smoking. So what is your plan to quit smoking? More than likely, you know, it's something you really need to take a look at. But I'm just saying, especially on the letting go of things side, depending on how long it is you've been doing whatever it is that you're doing, that you want to let go of or you need to let go of, there can be some mindset work in there too, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And some of that stuff can go pretty deep depending on what the situation is, right? So again, it's not just identifying those things. It's not just going through that exercise and realizing, you know, what you just realized, but now what are you going to do about those things? So what is your plan to learn or to do more? What does that look like for you? Or what is your plan to let go of whatever it is you need to let go of? You should be asking yourself those questions. And those will be in the worksheet that I send you. Okay. All right. I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about everybody's favorite topic, and I'm going to share my screen with you. And this is such a riveting topic. When I show you the screen, I don't want everybody to go crazy, because it is just riveting how incredibly exciting this is. So, oh, there it is. I need to go here. Give me just a second. I am going to switch over here. Kick over there. Come on. It's like when I switch between PowerPoint and Zoom, the screen freezes. So I need to go over here. Then I need to go here. There we go.
Excuses, excuses.
I know. Technology. Okay, cool. All right. So let's go over. Where'd you go, buddy? There we go. Okay. Okay. Boom. Sure. Oh, why did it do that? Oh, goodness. Okay, so you're going to have to see me go through this real quickly. Sorry. Oh, I wonder if it'll let me just click. That would be much better. Come on. Yeah, I don't want to do that. There we go. Well, let me do that. There we go. Accountability. All right, I see everybody getting excited. Accountability. Why do you think, I'm just going to ask a question before we dive into this. Why do you think accountability might be important when it comes to your goals? Open up the floor, just unmute yourself and just say whatever you want to say. One or two people, if you got thoughts about accountability.
Because I might have to take responsibility for achieving or not achieving my goals.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have any comments about accountability when it comes to goal setting and goal achievement? Anything else? Okay. All right.
I was going to say, like, we are co-creating, so we have to take and do our part, which is like the action part of it. Remembering, like, to be, grateful and trying to do whatever we can in order to get this, like, our manifestations rolling. We have to take accountability and responsibility for our parts.
Amen. Well said. Well said. Yeah, accountability is huge because without it, it's going to be very difficult for us to achieve our goals. So a couple of things I want to go through and talk about accountability because I think it's important. There's two kinds of accountability. There's internal and external. Internal accountability is being accountable for oneself, to oneself. So you're being accountable to yourself. It's an individual's personal commitment to be true to their values and to fulfill their promises. It comes from the inside out and creates a credibility that others trust and respect. External accountability has to do with other people, places, and things. For example, your spouse, your family, your coworkers, other people in your communities, etc. Okay? So, a couple of other comments or thoughts about accountability. If you don't hold yourself accountable for your actions or inactions, nothing will get done, or very little will get done. Okay? The higher the degree of accountability, the more likely things will get done, period. The lesser the degree of accountability, the less likely things will get done. Everyone does accountability a little bit different. Some of the clients I work with, for me to even talk about accountability is insulting. There are certain personalities that they are very driven. These are the type A personalities. And if you mention, hey, how do you want me to hold you accountable? It's almost like you're insulting them. They need very little accountability because they hold themselves so accountable that having anybody else do it to them is, yeah. So everybody does it differently. Everybody has a different level of accountability that they happen to function at as well. So you can be good at accountability in certain areas of your life and not good in other areas of your life. How many people have that little thing going on? Oh, I'm really good over here, but over here, not so much. Isn't that interesting, right? Holding yourself accountable is a skill set that can be developed and learned, again, in all areas of your life, if that's what you want. Having a plan to hold yourself accountable for taking action towards your goal is critical. So again, it's the ability for us to really be honest with ourselves. There's a lot of self-honesty in here. There's a lot of really looking at yourself, especially when you have these goals that you're trying to achieve and saying, okay, am I doing everything I can? That's why we're going through all these exercises, so that you can understand, like, you can have a plan on how to get to your goal. You can have an idea of how to get there. You can, do the affirmations, do the 90s, do all this stuff. But ultimately, it comes down to doing the things that need to be done in order to achieve your goal. And the only way that's going to happen is by holding yourself accountable and being honest. Like, am I really doing this fully or not so much? So there's an accountability piece that comes into play. We don't have enough time to do this, but one of the things I was going to say, well, we can do this. You can just spend a minute. Like, this is a gut reaction for you. Okay, that's all this is. I just want you to think about this for a minute. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at holding yourself accountable regarding this particular goal? Scale of 1 to 10. 1, I suck. Excuse my language. 10, actually, I'm pretty good. So where are you at from an accountability standpoint in holding yourself accountable regarding the goal? So just whatever comes up for you, just write it down. Remember, we don't do shame, blame, judgment, or guilt here. We're just trying to get an idea of where you're at in terms of holding yourself accountable regarding this goal, okay? And then once you have that number, then the question is, and I'm being very specific here, and I just want you to start this process. So what do you do now to hold yourself accountable for your goal? What are the things that you do? For example, do you do like some type of a daily review? Do you do some type of a weekly review? Do you do some type of a monthly review? Do you do any review? But the question is, what do you do now to hold yourself accountable for your goal? So as you think about that for a minute, maybe think about or write down 1 or 2 things that you do to hold yourself accountable for your goal, whatever it is. And again, we're just trying to flush this stuff out because all of it matters, right? There's not anything that we're not going through that doesn't somehow or another tie into this idea of goal setting and manifesting your goals. Last but not least, then we ask the question is, whatever you're doing from an accountability standpoint, whatever you're doing to hold yourself accountable, the question is it enough? Maybe if you gave yourself a low grade or a low, number on how good you're holding yourself accountable, maybe you're just not doing enough to hold yourself accountable, and you got to do more things to make sure that you're holding yourself accountable. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. So again, what do you do now to hold yourself accountable? And is that enough? And again, this requires a lot of self-honesty, right? And then of course, if not, then what can you do to hold yourself accountable to accomplish this goal? So what else can you do other than what you're doing now to hold yourself accountable, right? All right. I'm just going to spend a few minutes talking about ways and things that you can do to increase your accountability. So in other words, if you're lower on the scale of being able to hold yourself accountable and you're constantly not doing what it is that you want to do, what you need to do from an accountability standpoint, then I've got a couple of thoughts in terms of how can you increase your accountability, right? So how to hold yourself accountable or more, I could put in that heading, right? So a couple of thoughts or a couple ideas. The first thing is you can create forced accountability. Well, geez, Mike, what's forced accountability? Oh, that's like what we're doing right now, what I'm doing right now, right? I told you that we were going to have an 8-week class on goal setting. I'm kind of holding my feet to the fire and forcing myself to be accountable because I can't not be. And there's other things that you can do. You can do a lot of things to create forced accountability, and we'll talk about some more of the ways that you can create forced accountability. but there are ways that you can create forced accountability. That to me is one of my top ones that I'll do, is I'll throw something out there even though I don't have it together, as the saying goes, and everybody knows this. I'm creating this as I go along, but I'm willing to build it as they fly it, so to speak. But it's forcing me to be accountable, right? You can adjust your mindset about accountability. You can establish a long-term goal and see if you're on track or you're off track. You can set short-term goals. You can define your values. Sometimes helps you in terms of holding yourself accountable, because if, for example, one of your values is that, like Joy was saying, taking care of herself and making sure what she's eating is healthy, and you're constantly not eating healthy, well, then there could be a problem in there. But defining your values can be helpful. In fact, in one of the workshops I've done in the past, that's what we do, is we go through and define our values, because that's going to be your true north, the thing that you can always focus on. Set a timeline for yourself is a powerful way to hold yourself more accountable. Listen, tracking your progress, I just cannot overemphasize the importance of tracking your progress when it comes to your goals. If you're not tracking your progress, then there is absolutely no accountability. So tracking your progress is something that should be happening on a regular basis, whatever that means for you. And again, some of us need more of that than others, but you should be tracking your progress with your goals. You could create a reward system. You could also create a penalty system. So there is literally an app, and I did this for a while. I haven't done it in a bit, but there is an app out there where you can basically create a goal or something that you want to do on a regular basis, and you can basically donate to this thing X amount of dollars, and if you don't do what you say you're going to do, then you've got to give so much money to a charity, which I thought was really, really cool. So it's an app. You can literally go do this. I did it. It was cool. It's really, really fun. You can get expensive though, be careful. But if that's the thing that gets your attention, I mean, and that's really what it comes down to from an accountability standpoint, is the thing enough to get your attention if you're not doing it, right? You could go ask a trusted colleague or contacts for feedback. So you could get your friends or family involved, right? And there's more ways, but one of the last things to think about from an accountability standpoint is to go join like a mastermind group. Mastermind groups are really, really, really good and powerful in terms of holding yourself accountable. So they are really good. I really, maybe one of these days we'll create mastermind groups here at Unity. I'd really love to have some people that were really, really into that. They're powerful. When we were younger, going way back with Scott, we used to have a mastermind group. We'd meet every week and we would support each other, and they were extremely helpful, extremely helpful. Again, you're going into those with no shame, blame, or guilt, but you're also trying to support each other accomplish certain things, okay? So accountability is an extremely important thing, and there we go. So in summary for today, and there was something that I didn't get to because we ran out of time, and I'll try and get to it next time, or we'll talk about it. But bottom line, without taking action, nothing will ever get done. It's helpful to determine what actions you need to learn and or do more of versus what actions you need to let go of. That's what I didn't get a chance to talk about, was your self-image. So we're going to let that one go for now. Holding yourself accountable is important to accomplish your goal. You may need to increase your accountability to accomplish your goals, okay? So your homework. Identify the following. What actions do you need to take? What actions am I taking now? What do I need to learn or do more of? What actions do I need to let go of? The next thing that you'll do is come up with a plan to learn or do more of and or let go of certain actions, just like what we did. Don't worry about your self-image stuff for right now. Again, maybe we'll talk about that the next time. Determine your accountability score regarding your goal. And if you need to have more accountability, then create a plan of things that you can do to create more accountability. Okay? So, action. Powerful, powerful, powerful stuff. I hope this has been helpful. Next week, the plan at this point in time, I think, but I want to start talking about a couple of things that we can do to help things along in terms of goals. So things, for example, we've talked about some meditations, but we haven't talked about the power of prayer. And if we're going to do a class about applied metaphysics, there better be prayer involved. That's all I got to say. So I'm excited about that. And I think that's where we're headed towards in our next class. If anybody has any questions or anything else in the meantime, don't hesitate to reach out. Other than that, it's good seeing everybody. I'm going to quit sharing my screen now. And I think we are good to go. So thanks everybody for showing up. I hope that was helpful. Please reach out if you got any questions. If not, we'll be here same time, same place next week. I'm bummed, Karina, I'm going to talk to you in a minute about the charity thing. So we'll need to figure that out, because if we're going to, I'm assuming raise money for a charity, I really want the congregation to know about it and start marketing that. So anyways, I'm not asking you to necessarily do that. We'll talk in just a minute, but for the rest of you, it's good to see you. And like I said, we'll see you on the next call. I'm going to stop the recording at this time. And if anybody else